Well, thank you so much for joining for the interview for the passages for moviemuslim.com. My name is Okar Albarwa. Um, I saw the film and it's very complex. It's even from the beginning, and it was my second time watching it. Like, what is it that you were looking for? With so many, like you have seen, I've seen Frankie, I've seen many other movies, but this particular it stands out. What is it that you were looking for in this story to tell us, to bring it to us?
I wanted to make a film of intimacy, and I also wanted to make a film that challenges and the audience in a way that gives pleasure. So the acting, the relationships, the conflict, I was trying to do something that had the texture of the kind of movies I love, which is combustible cinema, action cinema, but the action is people, humans.
You're right. I have a question about that, but a bit later. I like the opening sequence. Actually, in most movies, they try to reveal something, but in here, I agree with you. It's a combat character study and everything, but in here, we are meeting Thomas, who is full of himself. He enters the stage and he shows his displeasure. He's like so good, so smart. He's an artist, and he wants to stage something like a masterpiece, perhaps. But there's something about him that tells me, or at least to the audience, that I'm not sure if I would like to share the same room with him.
Yeah, I mean, I think from the beginning, I wanted you to know that this is a film about a man on a pedestal. And whether he gets to stay on that pedestal is the drama of the story. Like, in a way, we might just shake the pedestal. We might actually push him off the pedestal. And that's the pleasure of the film. I mean, I think it's in a history of cinema of kind of men behaving badly, and the consequences to that behavior are not always good for that man. So I think about James Cagney, I think about Marlon Brando, I think about Travis Bickle, you know, like we have to understand what they can do in the world before we understand that maybe there is points of vulnerability.
Actually, the next scene in the movie, it's like, I'm not trying to reveal much, but when Martin tries to dance, he said, "I don't want my husband to dance with anybody." Yet he goes and has the sex with the woman, with the teacher. Right? So there's something about him that there's the sense of entitlement. What was that like the character study? I'm interested. Like I like Martin, but Thomas is more like a narcissist or something. Like he wants everybody to be around him, please him more. Like,
I don't know. He's like the center. He's like a Pied Piper. He's the center of a universe in which he looks for and takes pleasure, but he also tries to please people. I mean, he's also trying to like seduce people. He wants to acquire people. So to me, he's like a clown, but he's also like a producer. Like he's this combination of things. He's also played by Franz Rogowski, which I think is really significant. He's played by a really charismatic, beautiful person who is beautiful inside and out. Like so it's not, we're watching a performance of power, and I think we enjoy the kind of ways in which Franz Tomas defies the norms. He's doing things we might want to do but never would, and also he's dressed really well, so he looks fun to be with.
Well, yes and no, but again,
right. Yes and no. Well, I have to say, for me, characters like that I've known in my life, I'm happy to spend the night with them, but I don't want to spend a life with them. But it took me a long time to learn that. I spent 10 years with somebody like that once. So
well, I should I feel sorry? But anyway,
I think in a way we can't really analyze what people are attracted to, but we can understand that each of these characters changes in the course of the film, and I think that that's important. That's the title. The title is Passages, which to me is a process of change. How they change, I can't tell you, but change happens, and that's why it deserves the film.
Mauricio Zacharias, this is not the first time you're collaborating with him, pretty much just all the time. What is it that you like about writing the story like so complex with another writer, with the writer that you have been working for a long time? Do you guys have a creative differences, or that's the beauty of the relationship, or what do you do to come up with something like this?
Well, one of the things about being a film director is you have to be good and enjoy collaboration. And collaboration is really understanding what some people have to offer that you can't do yourself. So for me, Mauricio is a writer in a way that I can't be. He writes the first draft of the films. We meet for a couple of months and we come up with an outline, characters, plot, story, but then he goes off and does this thing which is incredible, which is to create pages. It's the same thing. I can't act either. I can set up things with actors, but I can't personally act. I need them to do things that are unique to them. And I think I'm good at recognizing what people can do and giving them the space to do it without too much interference. Mauricio also trusts me, which I think is important for everyone who collaborates. He believes that I know best. For better or worse, he thinks I know best. And so that allows him to hand things over to me.
Thank you. Actually, my next question is the one that I wanted to ask you since January when I saw the Passages at Sundance.
Okay.
I've seen most of your films, honestly speaking, and I always like the characters that you create, and that was one of the questions one of the answers that you have provided that I was like, I will get back to it. All the characters that you have created are all very complex. They're like action-packed, like you mentioned, action-packed, but through the internal struggle and what we see externally. So as you creating those characters, as a writer and a director, do you think you have done with the search of the one that you wanted to create as the life-changing, or you're still searching for the perfect character that you think that is still there, or maybe you have already created one?
No, I don't think that way. I believe in the process. I believe in completing things. I believe that a film can only be made in the moment that it's made. The movie that I made when I was 30 is very different than the movie that I make when I'm 50. I'm 57, just to be frank now. They are of their time and they're of their moment. And I'm a kid of Montessori. So I like to finish things. I finish things, then I move on. And I feel that I'm interested in what is the next story that will compel me. So I'm looking for that more than I'm not trying to work one thing out. It's a long process. All of the filmmakers that I admire, they've basically made one movie, which is all their movies. You can't talk about one Fassbinder without talking about another Fassbinder. You can't talk about Ozu, in 1933 without talking about Ozu in 1958. It's a continuation of a person expressing and sharing their soul.
One last question. What you have mentioned, not like your age, but from say the movies or the stories that you have written back 30 years ago or now. What do you think about the way you seeing the characters from 30 years ago and the way you're writing them now? Do you think they grew up and became more mature, or do you are just trying to balance it out?
Well, maturity is not that dramatic, to be honest. So in a way, you have to try to understand characters' flaws in a way that's empathetic in order to make drama. That being said, I think what's really different about Passages as compared to my earlier films is that there's no shame in the film. Like there's nothing hidden. And that seems to me something that used to be the fuel of my work and of my life. And that's changed at this point.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the film. And I'm looking forward to seeing more stuff that you're going to release for us. Thank you.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Thanks.